Interactions are the individual outputs of pre-programmed information that you add to your chatbot. Essentially, they're your side of the conversation, and they're where the value of your chatbot comes out to users. When combined together and with interactions from the actual customer, that is where you really have those conversations and what makes a chatbot happen. In this tutorial, you'll get an overview of the different types of interactions, as well as some important details about how to use them. So to get started, select My Bots from the left-hand menu, and then the chatbot that you wish to use. In this case, HealthBud. Now, interactions live within this middle menu here. You can see you can sort of scroll up and down. To add a new interaction, you'll select the Add New Interaction button. Once you do that, it will bring up 12 different types of interactions. Now, I'll walk you through each individual interaction. The first is the bot statement. Now, this is primarily used if you're going to be outputting text. And with most chatbots, that is the predominant way that the chatbot communicates. And as such, it's really going to be the workhorse, and it's probably going to be the interaction that you're adding most frequently. Then we get into what are called extraction interactions. Each of these is used for when you are wanting the user to respond with a specific piece of information that you're trying to save and get back. For example, in the first extraction example, email extraction, you would use it if you were prompting the customer or the user to respond with an email address. Similarly, for URL, it's what you would use if you were expecting a URL to come back. And similar for phone, if the user was replying with a phone number, date, if they were providing a date, number, if you were measuring a specific number that they provided, address, if you were looking for some sort of geolocation or mapping of addresses, and finally, duration, which allows users to provide back time in seconds and milliseconds. Next, you move on to a JSON API interaction, which you'd use if you were integrating your chatbot to pull in custom content from an external API. This is definitely a little bit more of an advanced interaction, but an extremely powerful one. Next, you have the search interaction, which allows you to search bases like Google or Bing for results without actually leaving the chatbot. Next, you have the await response interaction, which allows it to provide a little bit of a buffer while a human counterpart is going to be taking over the conversation for something such as live chat. Finally, you have translation, which allows a translation to be run using support from Microsoft's API software. Then, when you're creating a new interaction, it's quite simple. For a bot statement, we'd select bot statement, and then we'd name it. Try to provide as unique as a name as you can to that individual interaction. That way, when you're going through and you have tons and tons of interactions piled up, you know exactly what it details. In this case, I'll just call it sample interaction. Now, the highlight extracted data in chat is something that you definitely want to be using if you were doing one of these extraction interactions. It's going to make it very easy for you in the chat to see that specific line item or piece of information that you're looking to extract. And then I'll select add, and there we go. And it comes down here at the very bottom. There's something of a recency and structure. Earlier in the conversation that you have your interactions, the closer to the top that they are. Now, once you've created each interaction, you'll see in common along this top bar a few things. The symbol for the type of interaction that it is, and the name of the interaction, a unique number that identifies that interaction, when it was last updated, a test chat button, and finally a bot scheme button that allows you to see the hierarchy and the breakdown of your chatbot. Now, within each individual interaction, there are a few different actions that you can take. Starting from the left-hand side, this allows you to drag and drop into different parts of the conversation. And then you'll see here as well that it'll also include the symbol for the type of interaction, the name of that interaction, the type of interaction, the unique identifying number, and then a few other things. So you see all these green icons for connection. There, you'll see the green indicates that this interaction is connected to another interaction, and that a specific response to it will bring the user to that interaction. As you can see, it shows the connection specifically to those different interactions. Apart from green, we also have orange, which, as you can see, means no connections. This is what will automatically populate and show right after you create a new interaction and haven't linked it through a connection yet. Finally, you have red, which, as you can see, connection leads to deleted interaction. Now, this shows red as it's something that you absolutely want to avoid in any chatbot conversation. Basically, it means that if a user lands there, they're probably going to be put into a dead end, which is often going to lead to them leaving the conversation and your chatbot. So you want to make sure that you are green across the board unless it's absolutely a dead end. But even then, still, if it's intentional, you should be able to link back somewhere, whether it be the start or a help page or somewhere. Next, you'll see a few different of these, the sort of three bubble pop up here, and the different options that you have. First, you can test the interaction. One super nice thing about this is that with earlier chatbot software, when you were testing, you always had to start at the beginning of the conversation and move your way all the way through. However, if I have a long conversation and want to jump straight to the 15th interaction, this makes it super easy. Once I click test interaction, it's going to bring it up right up in my test window like this. I haven't entered anything yet, which is why it's blank. Then you can also rename, which, as you can see, is quite simple. Once you do that, you have the check beside it. And I'm not actually going to rename it, but there we go. And you can copy it, which will duplicate it, and delete it. The other option is the highlight extracted data in chat. So if you didn't press that when you first created it, then you can do it then. Now, each individual interaction does have a lot of powerful things, and as you play around more, you'll definitely get to know each and every one of them. Thankfully, SnatchBot makes it super easy and intuitive to get started with any sort of interaction. With that, we're at the end of our tutorial.